This one started different because I'm not sure how the situation started. But Baoxi's posted on August 15 this huge thread that reads, "Let's talk about the constant harassment I've been receiving for months. Thanks to Mao Mauzi, and as of yesterday, Chiovi Mauzi. I'll be talking about the slandering of me and my situation both publicly and privately. And apparently someone made a document about them, but I couldn't find it. And there's Chiovi Mauzi saying, quote unquote, homeless and spends hundreds, maybe thousands on art and proceeds to ask for their community to donate to them and guilt trips them into doing it. And Mao saying, there's so much I can say about this, and I'm so glad I'm not the only one who's noticed because it runs so much deeper than anyone thinks. A Discord thought that I'm not sure what it's supposed to be showing. I'm not sure. For context, my past situation, TLDR, lived alone for 5 years, moved back in with mom after multiple hospital scares in severe mental health decline. I needed support. Mom mentally unwell, kicks me out. Temporarily homeless, hotels. Pay for my own accommodation. Situation at my mom. Sleeping on the floor in a toilet, no personal space, and attaches some photos. Current. Kicked out. Desperately been searching for housing for months. Zero notice, just out the house the same day. Homeless for just over a month. Limited images due to not being willing to dox myself. Laptop I've been paying for monthly since getting here. No longer have a piece. And I think it's really sad that you have to prove yourself like that with something like this due to someone accusing you of stuff. I'm not sure what you were accused of, as I couldn't find the original document. Let's talk about Mao Mauzi. We've attempted on multiple occasions to apologize to each other. The name has been left out of my mouth, but unfortunately does not offer me the same gratitude. For months, this creature has been telling people I'm lying about being homeless, being in medication, and Lord knows what. Let's talk about it. And then there's a convo between Sterling and Mao Mao where they're supposedly talking about Baoxi's. Oh, I think back then Baoxi's went by a different name. I'm really not sure what it's supposed to be about. For months, this creature has continued to spread lies and nonsense about me privately. Even once first creating a Google Doc and sending it to multiple people, zero opportunities to defend myself or give my side. She also attempted to sabotage my income by reaching out to an artist whose adopt I was trying to sell, which I had permission to do. And that's the trick thing, like, a lot of times people resell adopts without asking for permission, which is really sad because as someone who made something, you want to know where your creation currently is. But Paushi is saying they had permission, so there's a screenshot that Buggy him saying, well, she messaged me about it, but I told her I wanted to talk to you about it because I knew your situation. She insisted on believing that you were basically lying, but I didn't want to potentially take money from you if you needed it. But I also didn't feel comfortable selling for so much. But since I was the one who said you could, it's my fault. And Pauschis, I think, is saying that I'm lying about the adopt or that I'm lying about my situation. And Buggy says, she said you say the same thing whenever you owe someone money and use their money for art commissions. And send me screenshots, but I didn't want to assume based off past situations because I know IRL situations and toxic households can be super confusing. And not talking to you first could potentially harm you, when worst case for me is my design gets sold. Worst case for you is you don't wait. And I wasn't comfortable with being the person who does that to you. I made sure to keep telling her that, and she kept telling me, you hurt people, and then eventually she let me be with my opinion and agreed to just let me talk to you about it. I don't really mind the reselling in general and was okay with selling at a discount. I was more so uncomfortable with the price. Since it was pretty high, but I didn't realize I was the one who gave you permission in the first place, so now I don't feel any way about it. Let's talk about the Google Doc. She sent around privately and continues to do so. Oh, the Google Docs actually linked. The true event with that is spouses. Let me begin with stating all the Agnes is an account of myself and that it's spouses, so there's no confusion with the screenshots. My original Discord account, my new Discord account, and it's spouses. Their Twitter accounts. I would like to state that it's spouses' current account was her old account, but she then moved to spouses VT when she rebranded until she was suspended and then moved back to her old account. This means some things I couldn't get a screenshot of because her posts on the suspended account are all gone. With that being stated, let's move on to my side of things. With all the provided screenshots and proof I couldn't get info. And it's spouses, also known as spouses, I will be referring to her as spouses for the rest of this document, has been dragging my name and been lying for a very long time. This made some serious claims are false. I bit my tongue for a long time, not wanting to start drama, but she has been posting lies and slander of me even long after I graduated. In this document, I will explain my side of things and providing evidence through other screenshots I could gather along with detailed explanations. This is not to spread hate, this is only to defend myself against the lies that are being spread, but please read this over and make your own opinions about the situation. Thank you. Disclaimer. Our info here will have time zones in CDT and the layout will be month, day, year. Please note that some screenshots could not be recovered due to Paushi's previous account getting suspended. Also note that some screenshots that are too large or too many in a group will be added into the form of Google Drive folder links. The screenshots take up too much room on this document to add an individual. My first interaction with Paushi's. I met Paushi's back in September 4th, 2024, back when I first decided to sell my Tiger model. She DM'd me to ask about buying the model from me. Note that my name was Katsuni at the time. I was completely fine as long as she agreed to only sell it back to me if she sold it so the sale went well. Selling the Tiger model back to me. Everything was fine until she agreed to sell it back to me on November 4th, 2024. We went back and forth a lot over the payment plan she was allowing me. She wanted a very strict payment plan, which was difficult, but at the time she told me she needed the money due to RL issues such as homelessness. So I wanted to give her money, any money I could. We agreed on $100 down payment and then $1,000 payment right after that. Sadly, I ended up in the hospital and had to pay out of pocket for it. I told her I couldn't pay her what I had on hand and pay the rest that Friday. She wasn't okay with this and told me she'd rather send back my $100 and keep her because this is not really ideal for her and that she'd let you know how desperate my situation was. Which never really made any sense as an excuse to me because I was still offering to pay the full $1,000 in just a few days. But instead, she wanted to cancel and get no money at all over getting a lot in a few days. Despite her desperate situation, something would be better than nothing if you're about to be homeless. Admittedly, this did upset me very much, and I acted out because of this. It was a mistake on my part and not something I'm proud of, but we did clear things up and I did apologize. We worked out a new payment plan that she was happy with, and we started that plan. I paid $950 of it before I lost my job, and my bank account went into the negatives. I told her about the situation and told her she could take the model back too, which she responded with, I don't know what I'm supposed to do and why can't you want here, cats, because I don't know what to do, which struck me as a little odd as I wasn't putting up a fight or anything. All I said was that my situation was and that she could have her back, no questions asked. Honestly, I get not knowing what to do because if you're selling a model and a bunch of other stuff with it, it's a lot of money and they were working on a payment plan, but then everything was canceled, so I get not knowing what to do. Refunding me for the Tiger model. On November 28, 2024, she officially agreed to refund me back, but stated it would take her a bit, which was fine with me. Even she said she was getting kicked out of her house again. 2 months had gone by with zero communication on the refund, but she continued to buy/commission a lot of artwork despite claiming to be threatened to get kicked out/sleeping on the floor, needing money to get a new place and bed. She also asked her community during this time to send her money for her situation and then turn around and continue to get more commission. On January 28, 2025, I finally confronted her for this behavior and for not paying me back because, quote unquote, she had no money and was sleeping on the floor, but kept getting commissions the entire time. She claimed that her friends were buying her the commissions, which I didn't totally believe because they were a lot of really expensive commissions. Not just one or two, but lots of commissions. She also said her community was buying them for her, but it also lacked evidence. Also, as someone who has been in a really bad situation and needing money as soon as possible because of something horrible, I would have asked my friends if I could use their money to fund the situation instead of getting artwork/commissions or sell a bunch of my stuff, so I was a little suspicious that she was letting them give her money for commissions. That I'm asking to use the money for homelessness/sleeping on the floor. Even so, I gave her the benefit of the doubt and asked if she could maybe ask them if she could use their money to pay me back, or at the very least use it for her situation. She then told me that, quote unquote, what she uses money for is not actually my business, even though it very very much was because she owed me 950 USD, which is a lot of money. She then accused me of taking advantage of her situation in homelessness. Despite the evidence stacking up that wasn't actually the case, this becomes more apparent later on in the document with more proof. Even so, I would have been fine with the 2-month wait had she updated me, but not once did she update me during the 2 months of her buying the commissions. Honestly, a tricky thing is that we need money for fun too. Without anything to have fun with, we would just die. Like, that would be a miserable life. And if she's telling me the truth that the commissions were like friends gifting stuff, or I've seen people put like money for a commission on Troll, so her viewers could be funding the commissions too, which makes sense. I guess it just comes to priority, and it's a tricky situation, honestly. Accusations of overcharging for the model. On February 20, 2025, Pauschis accused me of overcharging for the model and its assets during the time she was still meant to pay me back. She later claimed it was not an accusation and just a question, but the DM she sent me about it was. Anyway, cats, what's the situation with you and overcharging for the model? I'm curious on the details, which sounded very accusatory and passive-aggressive. When I told her that it felt like an accusation, she replied with, "My foul though, in the future when hearing negative information about you, I'll simply label you negatively and not give you an opportunity to explain." Again, it was super passive-aggressive and unnecessary. With all that being said, I did in fact provide her with the exact cost of everything she got. A mistake I didn't make at this time was that I forgot to add the 1.0 model into the files I sent her, but I did correct it and send them to her prior to this conversation. Maybe they just forwarded it her. Well, people can word stuff badly. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt here. We still have to read Pauschis' response after this document. Accusations of lying to a friend/friends. On February 21, 2025, I was accused of lying to a friend that I shall not name for privacy reasons about her telling others I had overcharged for the model. I explained that I had genuinely just asked this friend for an unbiased opinion, as some evidence pointed to her telling other people that I had overcharged when I had not. It did get resolved and everything was fixed. Buying the tiger back again. Since Pauschis wasn't able to pay me back, we decided that I would buy the tiger back and I'd give her one of my OCs for free for her to use as her next VTuber. At this point, we also moved our over to communicating on Discord. As of February 21, 2025, we began working out details. We worked out that she would get 4K for the model plus assets plus 2 of my designs/OC, one of which being the design she uses. Selling the entire model together. As of March 12, 2025, Pauschis offered the deal to sell the model together and split the payment in 2 halves, aka, and then pay the rest of what I owe her later since she needed money as soon as possible to pay for her new model. That same day, I made the post on my account to sell it with permission for Pauschis. I got a few offers, but Pauschis shut them all down because none of the payment plans were soon enough for her to just pay her model artist. Later that night, I told her someone by the name of MeVT/Juliet offered to pay 2K for it up front. I then specified what that would mean I wouldn't get any money since it was only enough for Pauschis 2K, but I didn't mind not getting my house/2K because it meant she would be able to get the money for her model. She then said we could split 1K and 1K. That way she could pay her model artist and I could get the adult I wanted to be my next VTuber. I then sold it to Julie that night and gave her the assets Pauschis gave me when I was paying for the tiger. I transferred the money from my PayPal to my bank account, so no auto charges to my PayPal would take money out of it. The next day, on March 13, 2025, Pauschis sent me a DM saying, "You didn't give her any assets, right?" I told her I gave Julie everything she gave me when I was buying. She got very upset and said it was fucked up for me to send them to Julie without consulting her, because she later said she didn't have permission to give all of the files away, which I thought was odd because if she wasn't supposed to send them to the new buyer because she didn't have permission to sell the files/artwork, then why did she send them to me when I was buying her? So of course I thought it was okay to send them to Julie since Pauschis had sent them to me when I was buying the tiger model. She then went on a rant about how I didn't involve her at all, even though I absolutely did. I had no way of knowing about the files, and she was perfectly fine sending me the files she supposedly didn't have permission to give. I told her that I gave her the files because she paid and that I had the money that I'd sent her as soon as I woke up. That I had an MRI and EEG scheduled very early, so I needed to go to sleep early. It was 12:40 a.m. already when I was texting her. She later said that I had said that she hadn't paid in full, but I told her this was not the case. Turns out she thought I meant that Julie paid 2K up front and would pay the rest of the 4K later, even though I told her that Julie's upfront payment would only cover her half. She again got very upset, asking why I would sell it for 2K if I owed her more than that, which made no sense because we agreed to split 2K and 2K. And she had already agreed that she would only be getting 2K of it. The only person who wasn't getting what they were owed was me, since I sold it for 2K and planned to give that to Pauschis, even though I wouldn't get my 2K. Kept saying I made it sound like Julie's offer was a down payment, even though again I had told her 2 was only enough for her half when the other half was made by Julie. Again, more of her being upset with me for selling for 2K when I owed her 2K 350, even though again she agreed to split the same 2K and 2K, and she'd only be getting 2K anyway, meaning she still got what she asked for in the deal. She asked me to go ahead and send her the 2K from the sale. While I was trying to send the money, PayPal denied letting me send the payment, saying there was an issue with payment method. I sent her proof via screenshot of it denying my card, but she proceeded to say that I was planning to give the money for myself, and that the screenshot told her nothing and that I had no proof. No proof? I actually sent her a screenshot that told her my bank was denying the transfer for card. Eventually, I found out that there was a 63 USD fee, and I didn't have the extra 63 USD. I only had the 2K I got for this. So it worked out that I could send the spending small chunks of money so it wouldn't let me anymore. She also said she would agree to 50-50 because I said upfront, which was untrue and dishonest because she agreed to the 50-50 before the upfront comment was even made. And that just seems like maybe there was a miscommunication. Maybe they just misunderstood. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they just got confused. It's a bad moment to get confused, though. The aftermath. Following later events and after everything settled, she continued to make false posts and lies. She made a post saying that, thinking about how I'm never going to see the 1,450 USD I'm owed for my model and how much medication that would buy, I'm gonna crash out. She knew very well I had lost my job due to illness and knew I'd be able to pay when I got a new one. I got on disability. She also straight up lied when she said, and how much medication that would buy me. But just before she made that post, she said that 1,450 was going to pay for her new model, not her medication. She had no reason to say, and how much medication would buy me, if she never planned to use it for medication, instead use it for a model that you needed to pay off. I will be honest, I didn't understand this part at all. More lies and slander. Finally, I had enough and unfollowed Pauschis. As soon as she saw that unfollowed, she had a post filled with lies. Everything in it was lies. This post led to some of her community harassing my friends and my graduation. Here's a look at the post she made and a breakdown of every lie with evidence of it being true. A quick heads up about the Tiger VTuber model regarding Mau Mau / Cat Sneeze / Hexstain / Hexstain. I need to clear something up regarding my VTuber model. I originally transferred it to someone with the agreement that I'd be paid an amount of money, which I won't disclose. It's of almost 2 months ago, I'm still owed 1,450 USD. Today I woke up to her having unfollowed me, so I'm just kinda over it all. Let me first clear up something. The reason I sold the model was because she scammed the model artist. Didn't pay her fully for the model, and then proceeded to sell the model for 5 times what she paid, despite not having permission to do so. Ironic, right? The same thing should happen to Cancel Needy for. What the Needy situation they're talking about here is basically Needy bought it by 2K USD as was seen previously in this document, but then she resold the model / assets, everything, for 5K, having added a K of extra stuff and just up the price by 2K, so 5K. And there were other things too, but this is the part that results are against me. I tried to come to a fair and reasonable solution, but she has talked about me behind my back, fabricated an entire story that rearranges the events of what happened. She has trashed me and talked poorly about me, always being friends with me and playing with me / my friend group. Truly just loser behavior. I publicly kept my mouth closed because I am not someone that gets involved in drama. I don't even engage with it, retweet it, nothing. I trust that because we're friends. She would do the right thing. She said she was going through hard times and has hospital bills. This is actually partial true, but also not really true at all. She instead wanted to sell the model to obtain the money to rebrand to Slim Bangsu's something maldeveloped, totaled at 715 USD. She also proceeded to take payments from chosen viewers for hospital bills when she had money to cover some of them and instead chose to buy the 715 USD adapter, which feels incredibly dishonest to me. She was advised that a sale of the model could be made as long as I was paid my remainder and I was involved in the sale. She of course did not do this. She misconstructed and miscommunicated the entire situation to me and sold the model to needy VT for 2,000 USD. At the time, she owed me 2,650 USD. So this of course does not make sense. Despite this, the model and the assets, which I didn't clear with artists and didn't give permission to resell, were resold and are now being used by someone else. I wanted to make it clear the model and assets are still my property regardless of her selling them. The sale wasn't valid because I was not paid in full. She did not pay me the 2,000 USD. She removed the money from her PayPal after the sale to Needy into her bank account. Did not inform me that the model was sold until 4 hours later and proceeded to waste another 4 hours refusing to send me any money. Until eventually she caved in and sent me around 1,000 USD and kept the rest of the money to buy her adopter. I've reached out privately to try and come to a solution, but she basically refuses to make any effort to cover what she owns. I just wanted to be transparent about what's happening. I know this realistically does nothing. I know I made mistakes trusting people, but I chose to trust someone I considered a friend, and she chose to make things as difficult as possible for both of us. I know I'm never going to see my money, and I know that this post will make sure of it. But after everything that happened, after hearing the way people talked about me, the model sale, things she said about me, and just having to uproot my brand and move on like nothing happened, EL has really gotten to me. And then Katsune continues. Let's discuss this post she made because I unfollowed her. First, let's start with, let me first clear up something. The reason I sold the model was because she scammed the model artist. This is very untrue. I did in fact pay the model artist in full. The original price was 1K and I made a down payment of 500 ST. I didn't plan to cancel the commission and let her keep the down payment. However, she said that she still make the model for the 500 ST. I even had a screenshot of us talking about it not long ago because she asked if I could make the rest of the payment and I told her that I couldn't and I agreed on 500. I also did not sell it for more than what it was worth. I actually sent Pauschis a list of the exact prices for everything long before she made this post, as stated earlier in this document, and she knew that. So I lie about that if she knew it to be untrue. This is also not the reason you sold the Tiger model like claimed. I showed earlier in the document you sold it because you couldn't pay me back and sold it again with me because you needed money faster. But I'm unsure why you would say that when that's clearly not true. Next, let's talk about the I tried to come to a fair reasonable solution. I fabricated nothing and this documents my proof that everything I said was true. Now let's talk about the public kept my mouth closed because I am not someone that gets above. Let's be honest here, you have not kept your mouth shut. You've been publicly lying about the situation and also slandering me before you even made this post. You've done nothing but post about this drama, even after I graduated and left. Next is, she said she was going through a hard time and has hospital bills. About buying the adapter for 700. This is true, I had hospital bills. Even posted a screenshot of my nearly 4K debt to my Twitter. So why ask for help with my bills if I clearly had the money? Well, she actually knows the answer to this. The money used to get the adopt was actually the money that was left over that the bank wouldn't allow me to send her. And she told me to use it for the mouse adopt. But isn't that the same thing as when she used her friend's money to buy commissions? No, it's not at all. This is because she had trust with her friend. if I tried to use the money for something other than the adopt. I was afraid she would get mad at me and start drawing because she's done that a few times for no good reason, as shown in this document. That's how I will address of this specific post she made. Closing statement. There's so many other posts she made about this situation about me that were lies that I couldn't get a hold of, and God only knows what she's been telling people privately. I know I'm not entirely innocent in the situation, and I made my mistakes that I'm sure she will bring up after she sees this post. But Pauschis has lied and manipulated me in the situation to make her seem like she was the only victim in all of this. I never wanted to make a document on this, but I'm so sick and tired of her lying about the situation and about me after I've graduated. Please note that I stay up all night writing this document. It's currently 6:30 a.m. as I type this, so please know that there could be mistakes documented I'm unaware of. But if I see that, I will edit it as soon as possible. And then Pauschis made a document too. Mine is not very well written because I didn't plan to post it, but here's my response to a lot of her points. Preface. I'm not posting this because I think I handled the situation perfect. I'm posting it because I know she shared it to multiple people privately, which has left me feeling really powerless. I certainly should have set better boundaries in the beginning, and I should not have pushed back against her saying I didn't need to pay her back. I should have just kept the money like she told me to. But I was going through a lot, including new illnesses, family issues, and homelessness. I had people in my ear saying she'd caused drama, and so I thought it was best to offer to pay her back, even though again, she told me to keep the money. She knew this, and I told her I couldn't give any deadline on paying her back because of this. Eventually, we agreed to her sending me an invoice, and I would pay it off as and when I could. However, this never happened due to us agreeing she'd buy the model back. I'd also like to state that I personally believe that two situations between her and I are very different due to the communication on either side. I made sure to set boundaries the second time that she agreed to. I also did offer her 200 USD at some point, and she declined because she wanted the Tiger model. I was very open with her that I could not afford paying her back since I get 400 euros a month and have bills, medication, and brand/internet/electricity to pay to my mother. I also had already opened emergency commissions around this time to afford my medication in January, so she is fully aware I was still struggling. First of all, saying we're manipulated whilst privately sent her doc to multiple people to try to twist the narrative before I could get a word in is gross on your lane for this. Also, this document would be somewhat unprofessional due to me not wanting to give energy to this. I will post screenshots of the relevant points she made and try to clear up the things, explaining my first interaction with Pauschis. Nothing to dispute here. Selling the Tiger model back to me. She claims I want a strict payment plan. This is true. I needed the money. We agreed on 100 down payment and a 200 or 300 payment the following week, not 1,000. You never promised or guaranteed 1,000 USD payment. You said you would try to get a chargeback from Katsubao for the model they were ghosting you on. So claiming the payment plan was strict, whilst also not having any clear dates/payments planned is not true despite me wanting one. I'm not really sure why the fact that I wanted to give you your money back wasn't really fully cleared up. Yes, I would have preferred to give you back your 100 USD versus chasing you weekly and having no clear payment plan. If I already wasn't getting money, what changes? Not the fact that you only gave me 450 USD and your quote-unquote manager gave me the other 500. We agreed to payments every Friday, and as you can see here, she didn't keep up with that. This was the second time, and at this point it was only the second week of her making payments. Why on earth should I ever continue going through with this sale when you showed me in the first 2 weeks that you're inconsistent? You told me you were in the negative, lost your job, you were in the hospital, all of which are fine and okay, but you were also aware of my situation and how desperately I needed the money. And yet you still chose to take advantage of the situation. For someone that was dealing with so much, you managed to get a brand deal, a manager, and plan future commissions with our model Mama. I will spend 1 day of paying me. You also claim you never tried to make an issue of me refunding you, but literally threatened legal action if I gave you back your money and canceled the sale despite you not paying me, refunding me for a Tiger model. After multiple back and forths with her, I didn't quote-unquote agree to refund her. I told her the entire time that I wished to give her back the money despite her telling me to keep it. She insisted that I keep the money and later changed her mind. I told her I was paid monthly and and didn't get paid a lot, so I didn't know when I would be able to give her any money. I get paid 400 euros a month. This also has to cover medications and bills. I should not have told her I would pay her back knowing I couldn't, but my friends advised me that I should tell her I will so she wouldn't cause issues in the future. Honestly, this is such a mess. Like, I'm selling to you, but then I'm not, and then it's such a mess. Decided commission slash bought a lot of artwork despite me telling her, even prior to owning her money, that friends and community members paid for commissions. I, of course, would not be throwing my community members or friends in a Google Doc because that's utterly cringe. But her claiming it couldn't possibly be true is speculation with no evidence. You did, however, include a screenshot of you having not paid our model mama whilst buying art, adopt, and commission. So I'm not sure why you include speculation and then expose yourself. I don't really feel the need to address the issue of your not paying Julie, since you proved her yourself that you did exactly what you're accusing me of to her. Also, I did tell her that what I spend money on is none of her business, and I still think that's true. I probably could have used more polite wording, but I think it's really bizarre to coming to my DMs and telling me what I should or should not be posting, specifically considering I told you the commissions were gifts. I don't fully agree on this because at this point in time, you owed her money, so at the same time, it's rude, but I don't fully agree. This is something you have done and still do if we're going to be picky and speculate. You pay 715 USD for an adopt despite your medical bills. You bought an extremely expensive adopt in December/November whilst claiming you lost your job and couldn't pay me. You bought a model for 2000 USD plus. Always making the exact claim you're accusing me of. You've bought adopts over the years on Toy House that you've posted artists for. I unfortunately can't screenshot since I'm suspended, but I'm really confused. I was buying adopts and never paying people, but accusing me, worry about yourself, girl. Accusations of overcharging for the I did not accuse you of overcharging. I reached out to you to ask for clarification. You seem to think the way and wording was rude, but this is unfortunately just how I speak. I didn't intend to approach you rudely. I also told you and apologized, so I'm not sure why you included it. I did, however, become slightly more defensive when you claimed I was being rude because it bothered me. I don't know, that's it, that's the truth. You say you forgot the 1.0 model, but you never included it in the sale post, original Google Drive, or anywhere really. I couldn't even find it on your Twitter. It was nowhere to be seen, but you supposedly remembered to factor it into the price. Okay, girl. You also never sent it to me prior to the patient. You edited it after the conversation. But again, okay, girl. Also, I'd like to add that I still do believe you overcharged for the model specifically because the logo and the overlays were factored into the price. And you did not sell your brand, only the model and design, which factors some of the assets unusable. Accusation of lying to a friend/friends. You literally did do this. I don't know why you're saying I accuse you when you did do this. But yeah, you also said you won't name her, but you left her name in the screenshots, by the way. But I actually asked for permission to use the screenshot. You're reaching out to our friend because you were feeling secure about what you did and doesn't mean I contacted multiple people. This was again speculation. You expose your own actions to her. I hope this helps. Send the Tiger model together. As of March 12, 2025, Fauci's offered a deal to sell the model together and split the payment 50-50, and only pay the rest while I own her later since I needed money as soon as possible to pay for her new model. This whole situation was a huge misunderstanding on both parts. She told me she was offered 2000 USD upfront payment, which I of course assumed meant it was an upfront/down payment. We're both at fault for this, but more so her since I asked to be included in the sale of the model and never was. She claims I kept shutting down buyers. This is true. She wanted to start payment plans with people that would take 5+ months, which was not realistic. She also wanted to take the first payments that the buyer would make to pay Sleepy for her adopt. It's also true that I told her we could split 1K/1K because I misunderstood it as a down payment. I'm not going to argue the point about the assets since it has already been addressed. I sent her to Google Drive to know what was included. I don't believe there was ever any communication from me that she had the okay to pass them on yet. I was still in the process of reaching out to artists and would adjust the Google Drive accordingly. The value was over 4K, so she wouldn't have been losing anything regardless. I also wanted to rename all of the images in the drive to the names of the artists to avoid them being posted in the future with no credit. I'm not sure why this is unreasonable, but yeah, the whole 2K, 4K, whatever payment thing is just miscommunication. It could have been avoided if she included me in the sale like she was supposed to. We both handled this poorly. And then screenshots in this part just kind of proved my point. She acted extremely shady, wouldn't pay me, and wanted to keep the money until the next morning, despite being awake to argue with me. Then she conveniently decided she couldn't send the money. Then it was an issue with her bank. Then it was an issue with PayPal fees. I offered to send her the money to cover the fees so I could get paid, but obviously she avoided that for some reason. This was extremely shady and spanned over a few hours. The money should have gone directly to me. It has no reason to go to her. But whatever, make of this what you will. The aftermath. Not really sure what the context of this screenshot is. This is not a false post. She did owe me this money. I did need the money for medication. It had paid me at this point 2,550 USD. My modem cost 2,500 USD. So please alert me on how your point makes any sense. The screenshot on Discord is a month prior to the tweet. I genuinely don't understand what she's trying to do here, but it's just okay. One person DM'd your artist to let them know about your behavior, and another person commented on your tweet to pay me back, as you should have. Let's not pretend it was anything more than that. I made this tweet after seeing screenshots of you telling people I was lying about being homeless. Lying about paying for my medication, and Lord knows whatever else. You know this, so I'm not sure why you're pretending it's because you followed me. You were manipulated. You are not a victim. You have extremely abysmal handling of money and communication. You constantly prioritize adopts and buying models because you have no idea what you actually want. You lied multiple times about me and the situation behind my back, while saying you wanted to be friends. You gossiped and assumed about my medication situation and my living situation. Everything you've done has been caused by you. So much of your document is speculation and assumptions. You cannot just write that you assume we have talked about you, or assume I got my information about you, overcharging for the model from somewhere else. Also, I never said you couldn't buy the bully mouse, but buying it while saying online that you took needy's model payment for medication bills, which you did not. It's a lie. You publicly said you needed the money for medical bills and took money from multiple people. But if you needed it for that, please tell me why in the screenshot and the one above you say you needed to pay sleeping. And I'm not sure why I chose to still live in fact that you think I pay for my own commissions when I had a conversation privately regarding this. As you can see, I never once lied about my living situation. I live in a disgusting small room that is actually a toilet. I could not fit a bed in here. I have roughly 1 meter x 1 meter of space and half of it is taken up by my computer chair. Outside of my room is the kitchen. I have a very strict family, so I could not put my chair in there. So yes, I have been and still do sleep on the floor. I am still homeless. And I do pay monthly for my medication. My final thoughts. Maybe focus on paying back Polo Abby since you knew we were working on a model with Katsubao since 2024 and she repeatedly ghosted you. Okay. Maybe focus on paying the Toy House artists you ghosted all money. And maybe we stop shit-talking people behind their backs or our big ages. Okay, thanks. Additional, 16th of August 2025. I'd like to add context for the Sterling situation that Mao, for some reason, added to her doc despite not regarding her at all, and it not being the reason she repeatedly slandered me privately. Sterling and I had a genuine understanding. And it has now been resolved between her and I. Also, I actually did not unfollow Sterling regarding any money. I unfollowed her due to her tweet in support of someone I don't align with. I just didn't want to see that kind of content, and that's fine. And really, this seems like a reselling nightmare. Money constantly being exchanged, and I got pretty lost. I don't know if you got lost too, but it was just money going everywhere. God damn it. I'm glad Paushi's in a better situation right now. I hope you can get home. Please leave your opinion about this in the comments. Bye bye.